it would make sense that our worth should be, and in reality is, based on something that cannot be proven for any other reason than its value lies far beyond the most magnificent achievements that would serve to even remotely evidence it. Hi, I'm Craig Lounsbrough, and I welcome you to Life Talk. I'm glad that you're here today. You know, success has been accorded an endless array of definitions. Some of them are crafted, I think, to make failure seem more like success, so that we can limp through life and fail without remorse or guilt. Other definitions are quite lofty, and they're written to give us opportunity to achieve in a manner that has little to do with the achievement and everything to do with it restoring a blunted self-esteem. At times, success is defined by whatever will accord us the accolades of others, or advance us socially or professionally. And yet other times, the definition of success is really more about giving ourselves a sorely needed boost when our spirits have been lagging. Well, whatever and wherever their source, a dizzying array of definitions of success abound. Many seem to be a target created after the trigger was pulled, making every decision a bullseye even if the aim was horrid. Some are thrown out because they're easy, or we're not certain what success is, so we just come up with something that might pass for success if people don't pay too much attention. And in the squalor of definitions gone array and rogue, we seem to have lost a genuine definition of success. You know, I find it interesting that success, in whatever manner it's defined, has come to define our worth and value. That's why a lack of perceived success will tank our self-esteem quicker than just about anything else. Success appears to have become the litmus test as to the credibility of our existence and the unforgiving gauge of our worth. Success has evolved into the exclusive commodity by which we ascribe value to ourselves as well as value to others. Success becomes so acutely defined and so irrevocably defining that we seldom entertain any other possible definition. We find ourselves entangled in the culturally mandated definition of success, or the definitions imposed upon us by our families, or our friends, or our occupation. And we become so absorbed in the sorting out and the achieving of those definitions that the endeavor to achieve them becomes inordinately consuming. But what does this mean in terms of how we've come to identify who we are, and in that, how we've attempted to determine the value of who we are by virtue of success? The nature of such a mentality of success demands that we constantly achieve. It is an effort of insanely perpetual works that requires that we continually prove our worth as the previous success eventually fades sufficiently to demand a new one. Sure, we can define success, but success as used to determine our worth and value is always temporal. It's always moving. Therefore, we become enslaved to successes that demand nothing more of us than other successes. Look, our value is not based on what we do. Rather, it's based on who we are. And if we remain stuck with the feeling that our worth is based on what we do, the definition of success is what lends credence and credence to those efforts. Success is irrelevant in respect to our self-esteem, as any definition of success, regardless of how lofty, does not possess the power to sustain our sense of worth or feed our sense of value. When it comes to our sense of worth and value, success is the thing that's not the thing. It's marketed as the snake oil for our self-esteem by the carpetbaggers of our culture. But it's snake oil only. Success cannot do what it promises to do for our self-esteem. With such an apparently irreconcilable flaw in its makeup, it would be worthwhile to postulate that our worth must be based on something significantly more consistent and profoundly more fundamental than success, whatever that happens to be. And maybe we should dare to consider that our worth does not need to be established by either effort or definition. Maybe we should consider the possibility that our worth has never not been established, that success was achieved by the fact that God decided to design us and then deliver us into a far larger design to make an impact in and upon that design. We're here, and that itself is a success. Everything that we do from here forward is not about success, for success has already been achieved by the fact of our existence. It's about calling. It's about fulfillment of the purpose that we've been given the privilege to fulfill. It's about honing in on our purpose and purposefully carrying it out. It's about obedience to the call, not adherence to some definition that measures our obedience to the call. It's doing all of that knowing that our worth and value exists by virtue of the fact that we exist. From there on out, it's about the doing and not about the proving in the doing. It would therefore be wise to consider the possibility that our worth is based on something so profound and unerringly rich that its worth singularly speaks for itself. Something that does not need to be proven simply because it is established in a manner that the need of proof is really the weakness of our vision and not the fact of reality. It would make sense that our worth should be, and in reality is, based on something that cannot be proven for any other reason that its value lies forever beyond the most magnificent achievements that would serve to even remotely evidence our worth and value. We would be wise to embrace the liberating reality that we can achieve in life for the sheer pleasure of achievement, rather than as a despairing effort to establish our worth. We can walk through life with vigor and tenacity out of a sense of worth, not out of some desperate effort to prove our worth. We can change things, and we can change the course of things, because we've been privileged to possess both the ability as well as the permission to do so. Life is engaged, energized, and inspired by our worth rather than depleted in the pursuit of it. Our days are lived embracing the reality that our value is based on who we are. And to embrace that liberating reality is to embrace a life liberated. And if we cannot embrace this indispensable reality, we will be irreversibly stunted by the limitations of the achievements that we pursue. We will chain our potential to the baseness of achievements. And when we do that, the infinite worth that defines us will be forever overshadowed by the shallowness of achievements. For the greatest achievements will never come close to reflecting our true value. Your value is based on who you are, despite what you do. And that is a critical but glorious shift that each of us must make. Today's podcast is drawn from the book, The Self That I Long to Believe in, The Challenge of Building Self-Esteem. I would encourage you to get your copy today at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or wherever books are sold. Thanks for joining us on Life Talk today. You will find Life Talk on most podcast platforms as well as YouTube. I would also encourage you to check out our daily posts on all of our social media sites. Thanks for being here today. I look forward to seeing you next time. They say that you're not quite smart enough. They said that you're not college material. They said that you'll never really amount to much of anything. They said that you're never going to be relationship material. You know, they've said a lot of things, but you do not have to live your life believing any of them.